On the 19th of April 2025, I was so bored, I thought it was just a good idea to spend 800 bucks for an iPad to draw anime. So yeah, this is it, my 100-day journey of drawing anime girls every single day. Let's go. Anyways, disclaimer, I drew for 3 years traditionally, so I'm not totally a beginner, but you get the point. So yeah, it's day 1 and you can see it is a pretty humble attempt at drawing a side profile of this character here, and yeah, it's trash. Well, but that's to be expected because, well, I guess it looks trash because I was totally new to Procreate, and I think the most crucial factor to me not succeeding in the beginning was just, because I was totally unfamiliar with the new format. I had no clue what I was doing, and because in traditional art, you kind of just hold a pencil, you draw a line, and then you have a line. And if you press harder, it gets darker. If not, it gets lighter. But digitally, everything was just all over the place. The line was either too thick, too thin, or it was pixelated, or whatever. And the screen, obviously, you don't have a feedback like on paper. So yeah, I didn't know what brushes to use. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue how layers worked. And drawing accurately, and I still struggle with that today, to draw accurately and precise lines digitally, but I've definitely improved. This was around day 5, I think, and you can see, I think it's even day 3, yeah, it's day 3, and you can see I don't know, it does not look very good, but it is a major improvement to day 1, just because I watched this one tutorial of Procreate, and I was kind of, I was, especially on day 1 and day 2, I don't know, I was going haywire. I was like drawing 4 or 5 hours. And I'd say my major realizations from day 1 to day 3 were just the basics, like how to use the filling tool, how to use clipping masks or whatever, you get the point. That definitely made drawing accurately 10 times more easier. And here you can see, like, this is, I think, after day 5 until day 10, I was just like sketching and drawing expressions with references. And you can see the difference between me just drawing with like something that resembles a pencil and just sketching. You can actually see the difference in quality, because like I said, I drew just with pencils and pens traditionally, and yeah, you can see this just looks 10 times better than whatever I drew before. And now around day 10 and day 11, I started to get really confident with Procreate, and I drew my first, finished projects, like illustration of Miku with Pier Teto. And yeah, I used Saruman as reference, the one meme of him, and I think it turned out pretty well. And here you can see my first illustration of an original character, and this is a major jump. Like, I went from a 2 to I think a 5 or 6 here for my standards, and I think this looks pretty good for a drawing I made on day 11 using Procreate and drawing digitally. During this time I also was kind of watching tutorials how to render, how to use colors, how to blend and everything, and you can kind of see, it does not look very good. You can see at the clothing there's a few places that are way too dark. They're just like pure black, or the hair doesn't really have any details. The eyes and the way the hair is moving, the flow, I think it looks pretty good for my skill during that time. And then we have day 13, and holy shit, this was an improvement. Like, I was actually stun locked on how I went from day 1 from this to this in just 13 days. I don't know what came over me on day 13, but I drew this without any references, just straight out of my head. I don't know, I don't even think I could do this now, but just the way the lighting, the lighting from like backlit character with flowy hair and everything. I don't know how I managed to do that on day 13, but I just had a blast somehow on that day, and you can definitely see how I used some highlights, bounce lighting and whatever the terms are. I'm still not 100% sure how you call those things, but the improvement of the color, the lighting, the shading is just insane. And then around day 20, in this video I'm just gonna talk about the major milestones, because if I talked about everything it would probably taken a half an hour or even an hour, I don't know. You can just look at my videos, the progress I made. But yeah, the major milestones, around day 20 I had like a major breakthrough. Like I just understood how the different layer modes work, you know, multiply layer, add layer, whatever. And I also started to get really confident in my line art, even though it's just like there's no line weight. All the lines are just pure black and the same weight. But you can see somehow I just had this breakthrough on day 24 when I drew that one illustration of Kanade, I think, and here of Gold Ship. Like, I don't know, it just clicked around that time, and somehow this style has stuck to me now till day 100, and I just kept refining this type of style. Like I was using, I think mostly I was using the lasso tool, I was using kept blending everything, and also the shading with the multiply layer, you know, using like colder or warmer tones. I don't know, I just watched a few videos on how to render your character or whatever, and you can see here also this illustration of Satono from Uma Musume. I think it looks pretty good. I mean, you cannot, and this is day 32, this is after 1 month of drawing. I think it's a major improvement, and my main struggles during these times were definitely just the lighting, especially in the facial area. Like you can see here, I don't really know how to shade the nose or the cheeks or whatever. It just looks wrong, and also the eyes kind of look 2D. They kind of clash with the rest of the body, I think. And yeah, but I think the clothes and also the hair look pretty good in this illustration. And then on day 50 I had another major breakthrough, but again with the blend modes I had the realization that you do not paint the shadows, but you paint the light. And I think that's something that every art tutorial says, because I was always drawing like the shadow at very small parts of the illustration, but here it is the first time where I just painted everything in shadow and then erased the parts that I wanted to have in light, and that was just major. I was sitting there like, holy moly, how did I miss this the entire time? And you can see here also how I started to use like subsurface scattering or whatever you call it, and and yeah, it just looks way better now. And also the eyes, I think they're still kind of like the one of Satono Diamond. They kind of clash with the rest of the drawing, but the shading of the hair, the highlights, and you know, the clothes, I think it's also again a major step, because I just realized how to use the blend modes correctly, how to light correctly, and also the lines are starting to get, you know, there's line weight and in some places, and this way of drawing my illustrations or whatever has stuck to me now until day 100, until today. And you know, starting with the sketch, then cleaning up the sketch, making the final line art. I always finalize the line art first and then like just fill in the colors. I don't know if that's a good way to go about it, but I'm still using this method to this day. And you can see here that the style is more or less the same. Like I found it on day 50, and then ever since I just used it all the time. Like here on Bernice, you can see it's also pretty similar to the one of Corinne on day 50, and I just kind of stuck with this style ever since. I don't know if something's gonna change in the future, but I just feel most comfortable with this way of doing things right now. And I think this Bernice illustration, I think it's still the best illustration I've drawn to this day. I don't think I'm gonna top it anytime soon. Yeah, the main struggles I think are still, you know, just rendering the hair, rendering the clothes. I don't really know what I'm doing. Like I'm just doing whatever looks good. I'm using references of, like here I just used references of leather clothing, and it kind of worked out. But I definitely still have to learn anatomy, how the way clothes behave and everything, because I have no clue, to be honest. Without references of clothing or whatever, I would have no clue how to draw them, or at least not as well as here. And especially poses and foreshortening perspective, I'm still pretty much a beginner, because that's why you can see here those are always pretty simple poses, you know, like in portraits, like they're frontally or 3/4. Yeah, and now we've reached day 90 to 100, and you can see here I was just trying to draw something more complicated. You know, I was always just drawing something from the chest upwards, you know, like portrait formats, and here I try to draw something from the waist up, and it was definitely a challenge because everything was smaller. It was just smaller, like the details were way smaller, and here I figured that sometimes really less is just more, and I was struggling because the hair was just, I don't know, it was so small that I could not really draw anything pretty well. And here, I finished this illustration today. Today is day 100 as I'm recording this video. And here again, I know it's the same thing over and over again, but I just wanted to, you know, just see what for day 100, I just want to see how much I could show. And I think this portrait of Phoebe I think this is peak. I cannot do better than this right now. This is the most I can do right now. Like, I think the shading, the color, the whatever, the pose is pretty stiff. I know it's just a portrait, but I think the colors, the way that, you know, the folds in the clothes. Actually, this is the first time I drew the clothes without reference. I just went for whatever looked good. So after 100 days, I think these two are probably my best illustrations, and this is my peak performance right here. And I'm sure I'm still gonna improve, and I hope I still keep drawing every day. I think in these 100 days, I gotta be honest, I probably didn't draw for 3 days, because once I was sick, I think, with fever, and the other days I was transitioning between London and Switzerland. So yeah, I couldn't draw. So there's a good reason I didn't draw. I gotta say that, but I hope that I don't start slacking in future. And yeah, but it's gonna be hard because school is starting again, university and whatever, you know, you get the point. So yeah, the next video is probably gonna be at day 365, if I even still draw then. And to my future me, I don't even know, just keep doing whatever.